Okay, so the topic evolution and creation, it's I find it so incredibly interesting, and I'm a strong believer in evolution.
Yeah.
I have understood that there is evidence, there's proof from geology,
Yeah.
from anatomy, from physics,
Fossils,
from chemistry,
Yeah.
from biology, of course, and there's so much proof that life started 4.5 billion years ago. But what I also learned is that scientists have not figured out how did we come from non-life to life.
Yeah.
And as I
That's
understand
still a
it,
mystery.
it's still a mystery.
Yeah.
And so I think talking to a preacher the other day, and I said there's definitely a mystery. And some talk about some bacteria or something, and a really fragile thing.
Yeah.
And it developed then to something more complex. But I think, to me, we cannot completely leave out that there was some creator there. Can we?
No, I can leave him out
You completely.
easily,
Okay.
very easily.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you think, so how do you imagine that we went from non-life to life? How do you imagine?
Well,
What
I
happened?
mean, the question you ask is so controversial
Yes.
that you can't expect an answer from me that is any good. But I can tell you what I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that the whole problem has to do with the very, very early forms of life. That's the problem, right? What happened when it suddenly started to reproduce?
Yes.
Because that's the question that you have to ask is, what do you mean by life? Because chemistry works all the time, and there were times in the Earth existence which were very, very anti-life, right? Very, very hostile.
Absolutely.
Acid and no oxygen and all these things. There was, and the water was absolutely horrible and so on. But, and that's where I feel I can put a foot on the ground. If you look at the places in Ethiopia where the situation is very similar to ages and ages and ages ago when there was no life on Earth, there are yellow pools and green strange structures, and they're all chemical. And the interesting thing is, and that's the same in America with the bubbling thermal things where 100 degrees, and you say, oh, no life can live there. But they are finding things like bacteria and single cell animals in these places, or in the deep of fourth in the Mariana Graben.
Yes.
They find these smokers,
Okay.
where people who say, oh, no life can, but there's a whole lot of life down there. So I think there must have been, and I mean I think what I've read, that somehow there must have been some kind of situation where the combination of hostile and warmth and water and all these things gave way to sort of membranes, and then you had the first cell. That's as far as I can get.
Yeah.
And the other theory that I think might be interesting is that life came flown in from the stars. But it's still, it's interstellar.
Flown in.
Yeah, it came with a meteorite or something onto the Earth. So the beginning of life on Earth was somewhere else. But it's the same problem with the chemicals and the heat and the cold and everything.
Okay, so
It starts over there, right, in another planet, so there's not an answer. But I think when the first cell sort of chemically formed, that's what started.
Interesting.
And then they started bubbling, right? You can see the bubbles. They all have sort of a membrane. And these bubbles were reproduction, right? And perhaps that's how it started.
So moving on in evolution.